What did a crush do that made you instantly lose interest in him/her? Hey, we still good for tomorrow? Sorry, my boyfriend wants to come over Greetway to find out she both forgot about our plans and had a BF. He drove like an idiot while I was in the car. I literally thought he was going to kill us. And he was road raging the whole time. This was on the highway too. I asked him to stop driving like that and he didn't. Never going out with him again. This same shit happened to me. Growing up with an alcoholic, drug addict mother, I've gotten into plenty of car crashes. Because of that, my lower spine is curved, kind of like a J shape, and it's nothing severe. But I do have plenty of back pain and trouble sleeping. Too much for a 19-yo. So this dude starts driving like an idiot on the dark back roads at night and I have a horrible panic attack and start crying. He didn't stop. Needless to say, that relationship didn't last long. Duck that guy. Yeah, duck him. It's basically him saying he doesn't give a duck about you or your life. You shouldn't play Dungeons and Dragons. You know, when you cast the spells in the game, you're actually casting them in your spirit, and that lets the devil get into you. I was like, wait, and I'm supposed to be the one who can't tell reality from fiction? Not my crush, but someone who had a crush on me, or so I was told. She asked for my birthday, and I told her. She then calculated that I was younger than her by a week or so, and straight up said to me I did have a crush on a guy, but then I found out he was younger than me, so now there's not crushed him, dude. Lol. What a dumb reason. My husband is 8 months younger than me, but born the same year. I love making cradle robbing jokes and telling him to respect his elders. He loves making old lady jokes. It's stupid, but it's fun to us. My fiance is a few months older than me. Her sister is older than her husband, and their mom is older than their dad. There are many jokes made about the women in the family going after younger men. Told me she has a crush on my brother. I'm sorry, Luigi. It just wasn't meant to be. Your princess is in another castle. She started posting videos of her making out with drunk old men to her Snap. We're both in college. Found out she was a cousin. We were in class together, and it was all a pure coincidence. Neither of us had any idea until a family member casually mentioned to me, doesn't her name go to your school? Well, crap. Apostrophe. I grew up in a small town, and one of my friends was related to everybody. In middle school he told his mother about the new girl he was seeing, and she had to break the news to him that he was dating his second cousin. Same. Grew up in a small town and came from a big family. Anytime someone asked me out, I asked what their mom's maiden name was as well as their grandmother's, because there was like a 95% chance we were related. I have roughly 200 plus first and second cousins. Dating was a ducking shit show to say the least. This guy that I'd been talking to for a while on Tinder, who I thought was cool/cute, but he never seemed down to meet up. One time he randomly messaged me to say he'd gone over to someone's place and they'd had sex 3 times. I think he was trying to make me jealous, but it just made me feel a bit gross. I had similar. I had known this guy for a few weeks and finally had a date at his to cook me dinner. Texted him a couple days before to say hi and asked him how his day was. He told me it was great because he had morning sex, then a good day at work, then a date and sex with a totally different person. On the one hand, thanks for making it easy for me to dump you, and on the other hand, maybe work on not being a 100% asshole. We were 5. Had planned to marry when we got older with a pancake cake and everything. I was invited to his birthday party and he and his friend was climbing a tree with him being higher up. Suddenly he pees down on his friend. We never got married. A pancake wedding cake. Brilliant. I wish I had read this before I got married. Crush on a girl my junior year of college. She liked to heavily make fun of people, and I mean hard. Like to the point I would say hi to someone I knew. After we walked off she would have some remark. She went from attractive to not wanting to be around her really quickly. I had a crush on the girl who lived across the street from me, who I had already been friends with for years. Once we were teenagers she learned a new skill. How to cut real deep with words. Like slicing your calf muscle with words. Holy shit, this girl could make your depression go into overdrive with a single sentence. And she got a lot of practice. You forget to ask her how her favorite show was the day after a new episode aired, and she'd go over every sensitive subject you have. When she told me the day of my grandfather's funeral that my grandfather only died to get away from me, that's when I finally told her to go duck herself. And that's when I learned that she can dish it, but can't take it. Yeah man. I was in a relationship with a girl who controlled every aspect of my life not too long after the girl who made fun of people. I had a run of bad girls. My most recent ex I miss all the time. Found out he was a serial cheater and cheated on his exes with strippers and masseuses. Edit. Just to clarify, he had sex with them. Some people in the comments didn't quite get it. I see we've dated the same man. She ducked my dad. Best to not crush on your mom anyways. Was crushing on this girl for ducking months. And it turns out at her last apartment she stole $1,500 for coke and abruptly ended the lease, giving her 2 roommates barely any time at all to find new housing. One of which had to move back in with their abusive mother. Dodged a bullet. He dodged a rocket. Acting like a complete prickhead. And when I addressed it, he said, I know I'm an asshole, but I'm really sexy like. Okay. Suddenly, you're really not sexy at all. Lol sounds like something I'd say to my GF ironically for a cheap laugh. Threw rocks at a cat because she thought it was funny. That's no way to show appreciation to a funny cat. He tossed an empty drink bottle onto a random lawn as we walked down the street. I went on a date with a guy and he stuck his gum under the table at a bar. WTF. We were in our early 20s and out of college. Working at adult jobs, and this mother ducker cold and even grab a napkin? Who does that? I was driving with a girl that I liked. We went through the drive-thru and then sat and ate in the car. After she was done she threw all the packaging out the window. I dropped her off at home and never spoke with her again. Littering is one of the things that I just cannot forgive a person for. It's so unnecessarily and gross. It would be an instant friendship / relationship ender. I worked up the courage to ask this girl to go on a date. She said yes. On the date, she proceeded to spend the whole time gossiping about anyone and everyone she could talk bad about. I still remember the moment it clicked that she was just super shallow and mean. It's a bit different. But I had a moment when I was younger, maybe 15 or so, when I realized that my mum was like this. Anytime she could talk shit about someone, she would. And no one would be safe. It would be especially bad at family dinners. Almost like her only topic of conversation was talking bad about someone. This was when I realized that it'd probably be reducing contact with her once it moved out. We were out drinking. He got drunk and started fighting a guy that he thought had been harassing me. The guy said he didn't harass me. I said he didn't harass me. My crush still tried to defend me. Never lost interest faster. Oof. He looks like he was looking for a fight to impress you. Edit. Why is this my most liked comment? I had a crush on a guy in 5th grade. He found out about my crush and made a really hateful nickname for me and teased me about my body. Got all of his friends to tease me too. Realizing he was a garbage person set me straight pretty quickly. Here's a life that it won. I developed my first crush when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. This was right around the time when Pokemon were first becoming really popular. So naturally I was obsessed with them. I had the cards, the Gamma Boy games, etc. One day I overheard the girl I had a crush on talking to her friends at recess about how weird Pokemon were, and thus in a flash a young love was extinguished. Fast forward about 22 years and my wife also doesn't like Pokemon. Because life is strange. Tortured a housefly and gave an oral book report trashing my favorite book at the time for being boring and having too many words. Then started bragging he could have any girl in the school he wanted. Shortest crush of my life. And he's a liar, since we know now there's at least one girl in the school he couldn't have. Made fun of a chick who was into him for being chubby. He was fluffy himself, and I called him on it and walked away from that. He was mean to his mom, demanded money from her so we could go out in front of me, and then called his grandma to get some more money so we could go out. So uncomfortable. Edit. Let me add more details. We were both around 21 over 22. I met this person, drove from the Midwest to Dallas with him, and was essentially stuck there for 2 days before my train was scheduled to leave. This behavior was not acceptable at all, and I felt uncomfortable the entire time. Dude, she knocked over my Lego Death Star. She had to go. I had been seeing this girl for 2 months in college and things were going alright. I was helping her move when she decided it was the moment to have a serious talk. She sat me down and in a very serious tone told me she had been doing some digging. She confronted me with the fact that I had dated black women. I kind of thought it was a joke at first. I guess my brain couldn't comprehend that this was still a thing. No. She was dead serious and explained to me that while she had nothing against black people, she didn't believe in mixing races. I was dumbfounded. I got up and walked out. I was raised that you don't mix races. I never thought about it as a racist thing until I was about 12 and had a crush on this Mexican girl. It was then that I figured out my mother, stepfather, aunts and uncles were racist trash. Thankfully the man that raised me helped me understand the situation. I understood why my best friend growing up was never allowed to come over to my mother's and stepfather's. Used a baby voice when speaking to me. Not something that she did, but her breath smelled like shit. Literally like shit. My brother from another mother had this problem. He couldn't understand why girls weren't interested in him. Never took hygiene seriously until his mid-20s. Because he never brushed his teeth. He developed an abscess tooth and let it fester. Customers started complaining, and he was sent home from work until he got it fixed. The entire time I drove him to the dentist, I made him stick his head out the open window. It smelled terrible. Dentist gave him a good talking to about how his bad teeth could affect his heart. Soon after, he started showering and brushing his teeth every day. He didn't shower or brush his teeth, and he expected women to be like, "Whoop, that's what I like." Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.